Together, Sadashiva followed by Narayanam Namaskritya, followed by Shuklam Varadaram. Om Sadashiva Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Hari Om. A very good evening to one and all in the US, and a very good morning to all from India. We have seen that the structure of Vishnu Sahasranamam, we saw that it has a Purva Bhaga, it has a set of shlokas that are chanted before the main 108 shlokas of Vishnu Sahasranamam, starting from Vishvam Vishnur Vashatkaro and ending with Vanamali Gadi Sharangi. These are the main shlokas, 108 shlokas, and we have a set of shlokas that are chanted before these shlokas, which is called Purva Bhaga. And in the earlier classes, we saw that this Purva Bhaga contains about 29 shlokas, of which the first 5 shlokas are Prarthana Shloka, which are not part of Mahabharata. And we also saw that the 5 shlokas, the broad outline of the 5 shlokas are, the first shloka is attributed to Lord Vigneshwara, and the next 2 shlokas are attributed to Bhagavan Vedavyasa, Vyasa Namaskara. First one is Ganesha Namaskara. The next 2 shlokas we saw was Vyasa Namaskara, and the last 2 of the 5 we saw is a Namaskara for the Devata of this text, which is Mahavishnu. However, there is a tradition, there is another tradition where in place of 5 shlokas, 6 shlokas are chanted for Prarthana before Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha begins. There are 6 shlokas chanted, of which the second shloka is another Prarthana for Vigna Nivarti. It begins with Yasya Dvirada Vaktradhya. I am very sorry that it totally slipped my mind that this shloka was included in the text that was circulated to you, and therefore in inadvertence I straight went to Vyasa Namaskara after Shuklam Varadaram, and I thank the students team who intimated this to me, and I thought I'll take it up as the first thing in today's class before we move on to the explanation or the prelude to the 4th or the Vishnu Namaskara mantras where we ended the previous class. So we will first see this new mantra, which is the second mantra in the text that has been circulated to you. I request you to chant after me. Yasya dvirada vaktradhyaf parishadhyaf parashatam vignam nignanti satatam Vishwaksenam tamashraye. So this is the second shloka that is chanted after Shuklam Bharadaram. What is this shloka for? We saw that this shloka is also for Vigna Nivarti. Tam Vishwaksenam Aham Ashraye. Aham Ashraye. I seek shelter. Unto whom? Tam Vishwaksenam. Vishwaksena is the Devata who is said to be the gatekeeper of Shri Mahavishnu, and he has a huge army with which he protects the entire universe. He is said to be the protector of the entire universe. And his army is said to remove all the obstacles that are there, that could arise in the path of all of us. What is that army? It is that army which is led by Bhagavan Ganesha, Bhagavan Vigneshwara. Vigneshwara leads the army of Vishwaksena, and therefore the shloka says, Dvirada Vaktra. Dvirada means two-tusked. Dvi means two, Radha means tusk. Dvirada Vaktra. Vaktra means face. The one who has a two-tusked face. Or two-tusked face means what? Elephant-faced. The elephant-faced deity. Who is that? It is Lord Ganesha. Adhya. Adhyaha, led by. So, Ganesha leads the army, and who is being led? Paraha Shatam. Another 100 are being led. 100 does not just mean the number 100, it means innumerable soldiers in the army of Vishwaksena, who is being led by Bhagavan Vigneshwara. They are all warriors of Vishwaksena who are led by Ganesha. And what do they do? Parishadhyaha Vignam Nignanti. May they all immediately dissolve all the obstacles that come, all the obstacles that arise, and come by my way in whatever I take up, in whatever endeavor I take up, whatever I want to do. Here we want to study Shri Vishnu Sahasranama. We want to understand the meaning of Shri Vishnu Sahasranama with the help of Adi Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. And this is not an easy study. It is difficult. It is rare that one gets an interest to study this. And it is even more rare that one is able to continue and complete the study of this text. So we pray to all these deities to help us, to protect us from all the obstacles that may come until we complete the study of this text. So may they all resolve or dissolve all the obstacles that come by my way. May they all immediately dissolve. Shadhyaha. May they immediately dissolve. And how many times or when they have to do this? They have to do this always. My prayer to Lord Vishwaksena and to his army who is led by Lord Ganesha. So my prayer is to both Lord Vishwaksena and to Lord Ganesha to always protect me from the obstacles. Satatam means always. So this is the meaning. With this, so just going by the order of the copy that was circulated to you, the first shloka is Shuklam Bharadaram, which we have already seen, and the second shloka Yasya Dvirada Vaktradhya, which we just saw. And in the last class, we saw the shlokas Vyasam Vasishta Naptaram and Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya, which will be shlokas 3 and 4 in the copy that you have. And now the fifth shloka, which we started, which is Avikaraya Shuddhaya, which we started in the previous class and we couldn't complete because of paucity of time. So we will take it up now. Please chant after me. Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane Sadaika Rupa Rupaya Vishnave Sarva Jishnave. In the previous class, we saw that this shloka requires a bit of introduction. And we saw that the stage of understanding of Iswara as Jagat Karanam, the Karanatvam of Iswara, has 3 stages of understanding, and we codified the 3 stages as C, B, A. Stage 1, 2 and 3. Stage 1, C, which we said is the creator. Here, as a sadhaka, my understanding of Iswara is that he is the creator of this Jagat. This is the beginning stage. And we also saw that here Iswara, the Almighty, who is infinite, who is formless in his absolute nature, assumes a form for my sake. So I choose a form in which I would like to worship him. And since he assumes a form of my choice, it is called Ekarupa Iswara. And here I take him to be the creator, the Srishti Karta, Sthiti Karta, Laya Karta. Therefore, I see him, I worship him as the intelligence behind the entire Srishti, entire universe. The other way of presenting is the knowledge that the Bhakta carries here is Nimitta Karana Iswara. According to him, Iswara is Nimitta Karanam of Jagat. He is the intelligent cause of Jagat. I hope I can be comfortable using these terminologies with you because we have already seen this in the previous class. Nimitta Karanam means he is the intelligent cause of the product called Jagat. So this we all already know. The family background that we are given to gives us this understanding. Our parents, our grandparents have taught us, have raised us, teaching that Iswara is the Srishti Sthiti Laya Karta. And he is the one, he is the creator. And whichever is the Devata that we have worshipped from our childhood, we have considered him to be the all-powerful, the creator, the sustainer and the resolution ground of this universe. Alright, this is stage 1. Now, as one grows, one matures because of his religious practices. Following the religious practices enables and aids the growth of inner maturity of the person. And as he grows, he comes to stage 2. And this is stage 2 is B. Iswara became the universe. Just like how we say, clay became the pot. So, Iswara, who is the infinite, became the space, became air, became fire, became water, became earth. And it is from these Panchabhutas that the entire universe came into existence. All the names and forms we see The raw material for, the immediate raw material for all the names and forms is the Panchabhuta. And where did the Panchabhutas come from? Panchabhutas came from Iswara. Iswara himself became the material. So here, just like how we say clay became the pot, gold became the bangle, in the same way we say Iswara became the universe. So all that I see and experience, including the space, it is another form of Iswara himself. Therefore, every form that I experience is the form of Iswara. Just like how I enter the jewelry shop, I see different names and forms, but it is in all one substance called gold. In the same way, this Jagat, I experience different names and forms, but in all, it is one Vastu called Iswara. And this Bhakta who is already used to worshipping Iswara in a given form, in a form that he likes, he starts looking at every form as the form of my favorite Ekarupa Iswara. And we saw that in the example we saw, if I like Ganesha the most and my favorite god was Ganesha, I see everything as Ganesha himself. And when I look upon other deities, I look upon them as Ganesha in the Vesha of Shiva, Ganesha in the Vesha of Vishnu, Ganesha in the Vesha of Devi, and so on. So, this stage where the Bhakta looks upon many forms or all the forms, in fact the entire universal form as Iswara, this stage is called Aneka Rupa Iswara. The first stage was Eka Rupa, one form. This second stage is called Aneka Rupa, meaning many forms, pluralist. So many forms, Aneka Rupa, in other words, Vishwarupa Iswara. Iswara in the form of this universe right in front of me. And because the understanding is that Iswara became the universe, he is the material of this universe. Therefore, the understanding of Iswara is he is not only the Nimitta Karana. There is some window popping up. Okay. Yes, it's fine. So, in this, the understanding in the second stage is that Iswara is not only the Nimitta Karana, he is also the Upadana Karana of this Jagat. He is not only the intelligent principle of this Jagat, he is also the material cause of this Jagat. So this is stage 2, and this is where we stopped in the previous class. Now, this is not the end in itself. The Bhakta who goes through this stage, he becomes an adhikari, meaning he gets qualified, he gradually gains qualification, and he develops an interest to know more about Iswara. He develops an interest to study the meaning of our scriptures, just like how all of you have. So, he gets into studying Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads and Brahma Sutra. These three texts are called Prasthanatraya, which is the highest education in our system. This is what a human has to study to make his life, to lead a fulfilled life, to lead a complete life. Alright. Now, the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads and Brahma Sutra reveal this third stage of Iswara. In fact, Bhagavad Gita indicates this third stage, and Upanishad deals with this third stage. It reveals the knowledge of this third stage, and Brahma Sutra helps you dwell in this third stage. It clarifies all the doubts, all the logical doubts that may arise. All right, now what is this third stage? Here he studies. The Upanishad reveals to the Bhakta, the student, that Iswara did not create, did not become. Then what? He appears as this Jagat. So all along, this person carried an idea that Iswara is the creator, and then he became the Jagat. He is Nimitta Karanam Brahma, he is Upadana Karanam Brahma, and the Upanishads finally reveal that all of that was taught to you. Yes, you need all that. It was taught to you to help you in the stages, in different stages of your understanding, and know that Iswara did not create or did not become this Jagat. Can I say that the clay did not become the pot, but the clay appears as the pot? Yes, I can definitely say, because at this stage what we are saying is that just like how the clay does not lose its nature, without losing its nature, its own nature, it appears as the pot. Because even after the pot breaks, the clay is still there. The clay is not gone. Or the clay was not gone when the pot came. The clay is not gone when the pot is. And the clay does not go away even after the pot breaks. Therefore, the clay appears as the pot. Similarly, in the same way, Iswara appears as the universe, because when we say he became the universe, it is not like milk becoming curd, which means that milk has lost its nature of milkness and has fermented into curd. There is no more milk. The nature of milk is gone, and now it is entirely a new entity that is there. It is not so. It is not that Iswara has lost his nature and has become Jagat. It is not that he has lost his nature and has become inert. Therefore, he appears as this Jagat with his Maya, the Maya Shakti that he has. He appears as this Jagat. And here, the understanding of Iswara is Vivarta Upadana Karanam. He appears as this Jagat, the material of this Jagat, without losing his nature. The other beautiful example that is given by Shastram for Vivarta Upadana Karanam is the dream example. This is a beautiful example. All of us have an experience of having a dream. You go to sleep, there is totally a new world that you experience. There are mountains, there is a river, there are trees, there are people, there is a house, you interact, there are transactions, there is sorrow, there is joy, there is success, there is failure. You experience everything in the dream. And when you wake up, say you got wet in the rain, in the dream, you don't wake up wet, right? It was you who created the dream. You created the dream rain, you created the dream person, and the wetness was also created by you in the dream. But when you woke up, you did not get wet. So the waker, without any change in his nature, within quotes, created the dream world, and he became, within quotes, the dream person, the dreamer, and he experienced the dream world. And on waking up, where did the entire world go? He was the Srishti Karta, he was the Sthiti Karta, and he is also the Laya Karta. It is into him the entire dream world resolves. He was the intelligent principle of the dream. He was also the material principle of the dream. Where did the materials come from? It is all my own thought that takes the form of the dream world that I experience. So my thought is the material of the dream world. Just the same way, Iswara appears as this universe. So here, Iswara is formless. The formless Iswara appears as this manifold universe. Here he is Arupa Iswara. So we have Ekarupa Iswara, Aneka or Vishwarupa Iswara, and Arupa Iswara as the three stages of understanding of Iswara, and with reference to the understanding of the Karanatvam of Iswara. The first stage is Nimitta Karana Iswara, the second stage is Upadana Karana Iswara, and the third stage is Vivarta Upadana Karana Iswara. And just to recall, I think class number 3, the introduction of Vishnu Sahasranama that we saw in class number 3, I guess, we saw that the namas in Vishnu Sahasranama can be broadly categorized into 3 types, right? One is the namas that reveal the absolute reality of Iswara, and the second category is where he is revealed as the father principle, mother principle, the cause of this universe. And the third category is with specific reference to namas which are specific with reference to the avataras of Iswara. So you can actually pin them with these 3 categories. Arupa Iswara, the absolute form, and then Aneka Rupa Iswara, where we say that he is the material cause of this Jagat as the father principle, as the mother principle. And then Ekarupa Iswara, where he is worshipped in a single form. It can be any avatara, it can be any form from the Puranas. So just to help you understand, the entire introduction. Right. Now we go back to the shloka. Avikaraya. So here he says Paramatmane. Before that, the shloka says Paramatmane. Paramatma is the Karanam of this Jagat in the absolute sense. Here he is referred as the absolute reality, the Vivarta Karanam of this Jagat. He is Avikaraya, the one who is not subjected to modifications. According to our Shastram, all the modifications are categorized as 6 types. We say 6-fold modifications. Shad Vikaraha. Vikara means modification. The 6 are, it is told elsewhere, okay? Asti, Jayate, Vardate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, and Vinashyati. Asti is being. Then Jayate is birth. Vardate is growth. Viparinamate is other changes that happen to us. As we grow, as we age, you get wrinkles, your hair grays. A lot of changes happens. So Viparinamate. Then the next change is Apakshiyate. Apakshiyate means slowly your organs start weakening. Right? Your knee weakens, your hip weakens, you have a problem in sitting down, getting up. All these things happen as we age. So that is another stage of change, another stage of modification. And then finally, Vinashyati. Vinashyati means death. So here Bhagavan in his absolute reality is called avikaraya, one who is not subjected to these six-fold modifications. The next word that is used is Shuddhaya, one who is pure or blemishless, one who is unsullied, unpolluted. We have water pollution, we have air pollution, but we can never pollute the space. Space can never be polluted. Space is Shuddham. If space cannot be polluted and cannot be subjected to pollution also, then what to talk of Iswara, the absolute reality, who appears as the space? He can never be polluted at all. Shuddhaya. And he is Nityaya, Nityam, Nitya Vastu. He is timeless. He has, he is, and he always will be. Sadaika Rupa Rupaya. He is always of the same nature. His nature does not change, because his nature is intrinsic, and anything that is intrinsic is not subjected to change. For example, the heat of fire. The heat of fire is intrinsic to the fire. You keep a vessel on the stove and you pour some water in it. The vessel first gets heated up and then the water gets heated up. Right? So fire's heat, and then it is transferred to the vessel, and then the vessel transfers it to the water inside. So the heat of the water and heat of the vessel is not intrinsic. It is not the nature of the vessel or the nature of the water to be hot. So what happens is, when you leave them aside, they cool down and the heat is gone. So that heat, that nature is called incidental nature or acquired nature. Because of the association with fire, they acquired the nature of heat. But with reference to fire, it has not acquired heat from anywhere else. The nature of fire is heat. By itself, it is heat. It is heat here in India, even without lighting up any fire. And it is heat everywhere. Even you go to Siberia in -50, -60, you light up fire, it is heat, it is hot. So heat is the nature of fire. It is the intrinsic nature. In the same way, Iswara in his absolute reality, although he appears as this Jagat, he does not undergo any change or modification. He does not lose his intrinsic nature. Vivartakaranam. And such an Iswara is Vishnave. He is all pervading. We saw in the previous class that Vishnu means to pervade. Vyapyati. Sarvam Veveshti iti Vishnuhu. Sarva Jishnave. One who is always ever victorious over everyone. There is nobody who can be more victorious, who can win over him. So this is actually a very beautiful shloka, which is very deep in its meaning. And once you study Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, you will be able to appreciate. Those who have studied will be able to appreciate. And those who are yet to study, once you start studying Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, you will be able to enjoy these words and appreciate these words more. So we will move on to shloka number 6. Yasya smarana matrena janma samsara bandhanat विमुच्यते नमस्तस्मै विष्णवे प्रभविष्णवे ॐ नमो विष्णवे प्रभविष्णवे यस्य स्मरणमात्रेण यस्य means whom स्मरणमात्रेण just by remembering whom जन्म संसार बंधनात् विमुच्यते one is liberated from the bondage of samsara. Commonly, this word samsara in Tamil is used to refer to the spouse. Okay, this does not mean spouse because it would otherwise read that by thinking of Iswara you will be freed from the bondage of your spouse. Okay, so it is not spouse. Samsara in Sanskritam, in Hindi, sansar means the entire world, right? So in Sanskritam, samsara refers to all the pains that one undergoes in his life, in any form. All the sorrow, all the pains that he is given to in his life. So the shloka is saying, remembering, just by remembering whom. Remembering whom means, again here in his absolute form, in arupa, that is the absolute reality of Iswara as revealed by the Upanishads. Just by remembering the arupa Iswara, remembering whom, I am freed from all the pains, all the sorrows that afflict me. Janma samsara bandhanat vimuchyate. I am liberated just by remembering whose nature. Remembering means when will you remember? You should have learnt it. You should have studied it. Only then you can remember. Right? Therefore, the study process is called Jnana Yoga Sadhana, which is threefold. Shravanam, the first stage, where one hears or listens. He understands the teaching. It is taught. He listens to a teacher. Shravana means through the Shrotriya Indriya, through hearing, right? So you hear from the teacher, you study and you understand. This is the first stage. Then you have the second stage, Mananam. This is where, on studying the scriptures, I have some doubts. I get doubts and I seek clarification. So the clarification can come by way of repeated listening or can come by way of asking questions to the teacher and seeking answers from the teacher. So this is the second stage, Mananam. So in the first two stages, Shravanam and Mananam, the involvement of the teacher is there. The third stage is Nididhyasanam, where the teacher has no role to play. Because the student has already studied and the job that the teacher has to do, the teacher has completed doing his job. So, the student who has already gained the knowledge of Iswara, the Shastram is telling, Yasya smaranamatrena, just by remembering whose absolute form, the absolute reality, you are liberated from all the sorrows of your life. Janma samsara bandhanat vimuchyate. You are liberated, you gain moksha. It is not that, no, I think of Vishnu and I am freed. No, it is not like that. What do I know about Vishnu? What have I understood about him? What is my understanding of the nature of Bhagavan? So for that, I have to systematically study the scriptures. And this is also a beautiful shloka. Now one may have a doubt. I am not sure of the background of all of you. Many of you might have already been introduced to Vedanta Shastra, and some of you may be newcomers, right? It is always nice to be a newcomer, to be a fresher. Don't think low about you. No, don't feel that you know or you don't know anything. It is better that you don't know anything. That's what I feel, because when you have already studied, there is a chance of a wrong understanding. There is a chance. It's not that you will definitely have. There is a chance of a wrong understanding, and when you have a wrong understanding, it is very difficult to unlearn the wrong understanding and then learn the sampradaya way of understanding, the traditional teaching methodology. But when you are a fresher, it is very easy. You don't have any baggage with you. You start from the beginning and you start grasping what is taught by the sampradaya, which is very, very easy. Now, one thing that I need to know is, what is that absolute reality that we are talking of, right? And what is that truth of Iswara, that which I remember just by recollecting what I learned, just by knowledge, recollecting what I learned is the knowledge that I have already acquired. So remembering or recollecting the knowledge that I have already gained, that all the sorrows in my life go away, that I lead a life which is sorrow free, which is pain free. How is that even possible? There can be this question in the mind of a student who is very, very sincerely and diligently going through these prayer verses and trying to understand these prayer verses. Now, this is precisely why I thought I will introduce the 3 Dhyana shlokas which Adi Shankaracharya has written as the prayer verse to his commentary. Initially, I didn't want to include them. I thought, because this is not part of the chanting tradition, this does not come in our Vishnu Sahasranama, regular chanting of Vishnu Sahasranama. But where we are studying the explanation, I thought it will be very useful. It is very nice, because these 3 prayer verses are very beautiful, and that is why I had a copy posted to all of you, a handwritten copy posted to all of you. So we will see these 3 verses, though they are not part of the chanting tradition. So the first of the 3 verses, please repeat after me. Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine. The 3 shlokas which Adi Shankaracharya has written, the outline is that he has the first shloka, he is attributed to Devata Namaskaram, the Devata of this text of Vishnu Sahasranama, Shri Krishna. Therefore, because it was given by Bhishma as an answer to the question raised by Yudhishthira in the presence of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. This is what we saw. The Devata of this shloka is Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and the first shloka is Shri Krishna Namaskaram, Devata Namaskaram. The second shloka is a Namaskaram to Vyasacharya, the Moola Grantha Karta, who is the Moola Grantha, Mahabharata's Karta. So the second shloka is Moola Grantha Karta Namaskaram. And the third Dhyana shloka written by Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya gives the purpose of the composition of the commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama. He says, why am I writing? He clarifies as to why he is writing the commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama. What is the purpose? Why should I write now? What is the need to write the commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama? He clarifies this in Shloka number 3, and this is called Vastu Nirdeshaha. So the first shloka is Devata Namaskaram, the second shloka is Moola Grantakarta Namaskaram, and the third shloka is Vastu Nirdeshaha, giving the purpose of his work. So the first shloka that we read just now, Devata Namaskaram, Namaskaram of to Shri Krishna. Krishnaya Namaha. I offer my Namaskarams to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And what kind of Krishna is he? Is he Ekarupa Krishna? Is Krishna seen as Ekarupa Iswara? Is Krishna seen as Vishwarupa Iswara? Is Krishna seen as Arupa Iswara? Now, which Iswara is which kind? He is referring to which type is Adi Shankaracharya referring to here? He says, Satchidananda Rupaya. He refers to Krishna as the absolute reality, stage number 3. Absolute reality, whose nature is Rupaya, means nature, one who has the nature of. What is his nature? Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means existence. Chit means consciousness. Ananda. Certain books may translate Ananda as bliss. Please do not go by those translations. Ananda means Ananda. Okay, Ananda. Because we are used to experiencing happiness through the objects in the world, right? I say iPhone 16 gives me happiness because I've wanted to buy it for a long time. Now I have it, so I'm happy. Buying a car of my choice can give me happiness because I wanted to. I was waiting for a long time to buy a car. And marrying the girl of my choice can give me happiness because I wanted to marry her. And it was long expected that my son or my daughter will deliver a child. And once my grandson or granddaughter is born, they can be a source of happiness for me. So we are used to deriving happiness from the objects external to us, the external objects in this world. So there is always a tendency to understand Ananda as coming from an object when we translate it as bliss or happiness or whatever. Okay, here it is not happiness that comes from an object, it is the Swarupa itself. Therefore, it is safe not to translate this word. And Ananda Swarupa is dealt in Taittiriya Upanishad. It is also dealt with by Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So, whose form, whose nature itself is Ananda, whose nature is happy. So, Satchit Ananda Rupaya. Now, what is Sat and what is Chit? Sat is, we say, this pot is there. It's an existent pot. So, existence, normally we attribute as an adjective to a given thing. We say this is an existent pot, this is an existent clip. That person is still existent, right? So, normally our understanding is that there is a noun and existence is an attribute of the noun. Alright. Similarly, Chit, consciousness. Now, our understanding has been that consciousness is an attribute that arrives and departs, right? One is conscious, one loses consciousness, he gains consciousness. This is how we are commonly used to talking, right? The existence and consciousness principle revealed by the Veda, revealed by Upanishads, it does not reveal existence and consciousness as an adjective or an attribute to any noun. It reveals existence and consciousness as the very noun itself. So this could be mind-boggling. It could be very difficult to accept or even to understand or perceive for a beginner. And this is not, dropped like a bomb by the Shastram. The sadhaka is slowly taken through stage after stage to get this understanding. And the Shastram gives this understanding. So, for the time being, let us understand that this talks of that Iswara who in his absolute reality is the very existence principle of this Jagat, who in his absolute reality is the very consciousness principle. If I say I am, the I in me and the I in everybody, the consciousness, the chetanatvam, the very life principle in everybody, in every single living entity, in the plants, in the animals, in everything. So the consciousness, the very consciousness principle, whose nature is the very consciousness principle, and whose nature is Ananda, because he is Ananta. Ananta means infinite, and that which is infinite can only be Ananda. Chandogya Upanishad says, Yo vai bhuma tat sukam nalpe sukam asti iti. That which is infinite can only be Ananda, and that which is finite cannot have the nature of Ananda. Alright, this is just a piece of information for you that all the Upanishads are revealing this absolute nature of Iswara. And Krishna is Aklishta Karine. He refers Krishna as Aklishta Karine. Aklishta Karine means the one who is never affected by his own actions. Because he knows that he does not do actions, but in his mere presence, things function. He is like the electricity, by the mere presence of whom the fan does its function, the lights do their function, the camera does its function, the laptop does its function, the mic does its function. So electricity does not do any action, but merely by its presence, all these gadgets function. Similarly, Krishna in his absolute nature, as Satchidananda Swarupa, by his mere presence, all things in this world function, and he knows that he does not perform any actions, therefore he is not affected by his own actions even as an avatara. That is why we call the actions of avatara as Leela. We don't call them as karma, because there is no punya papa for them. And then Shankara says, Namo Vedanta Vedyaya. I do namaskaram to this Krishna in his absolute reality, who is the absolute reality, and who is Vedanta Vedyaya, who is known by or who is revealed by the Upanishads. Veda Anta, the last portion of the Vedas, which is the Upanishad. Gurave, who is in the form of my own Guru, because it is my Guru who reveals the knowledge given by the Upanishads. Gurave, who is in the form of my own Guru, and Buddhi Sakshine, who is the consciousness and the witness principle in me. Who is the witness of my own mind? Who is the witness? Because I say I know my thoughts, right? The thoughts that you have in your mind, you are aware of your thoughts. And when I ask you, do you know Japanese? So maybe any of you who know Japanese would say that, yes, I know Japanese. And when I ask you, do you know Sanskrit? Many of you may say, I know Sanskrit, while the others would say, I don't know Sanskrit. So, you know what you know, you also know what you don't know. You are a witness principle to your intellect, and you are able to objectify your intellect to say that your intellect knows and your intellect does not know. Right? Here Shankara says that witness principle is Shri Krishna Paramatma in his absolute nature. Shloka number 2, Dhyana Shloka number 2. Krishnadvaipayanam Vyasam Sarvalokahiteratam Vedabja Bhaskaram Vande Shamadhi Nilayam Munim Aham Vande. I prostrate unto who? Krishna Dvaipayanam Vyasam. Krishna Dvaipayana, who is also called Vyasacharya, and who is Sarvaloka Hiteratam, who is a person desirous of the welfare of all beings. And that is why whatever he does for the welfare of everybody. All his contributions have gone to the welfare of this mankind. And he is Vedabja Bhaskaram. Veda Abja Bhaskaram. Abja means lotus. Veda Abja means the lotus of Veda, which is closed like a bud, blooms in the presence of the sun. Once the sun rises, the lotus blooms. In the same way, in the presence of the Bhaskara, the Surya Devata called Vyasacharya, in his presence, the Vedas that were closed like a bud have blossomed now. Because he is the person who categorized the Vedas, and he wrote Puranas, which are, in the introduction stage of learning, to enable you understand the vision of Vedas through various stories, various avatars, and these kind of texts like Bhagavad Gita and Vishnu Sahasranamam, which are secretly packed inside, and Navayogi Samvada in the Ekadasha Skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam. These texts are silently packed inside the Puranas, and they reveal the content of the Upanishads. Battery is running low. In Guru Stotram, we refer to the Guru as Vedantam Bhuja Suryo Yaha. In a similar way, Shankaracharya refers to Vyasacharya as Vedabja Bhaskaraha. And Vyasacharya is Shamadhi Nilayam Munim. He is the abode of all qualities like mastery of mind. Shama means mind control. And he is an abode of all. Shama Adi means control of mind, etc. and so on. All the other values are included. Nilayam means abode, and he is Munihi. Muni is Mananashila, a person who has conquered his own mind. Shamadhi Nilayam Munim. Third shloka. Sahasramurte Purushottamasya Sahasranetranana Padabaho Sahasranamnam Stavanam Prashastam Virujyate Janma Jaradi Shantyaihi. So Shankara in this third Dhyana shloka gives the purpose of the composition of the Bhashyam on Vishnu Sahasranama, and we saw that this is called Vastu Nirdeshaha Purushottamasya Sahasranamnam Stavanam Prashastam. The 1,000 names of Purushottama, the Lord, the 1,000 praiseworthy names. Purushottamasya Sahasranamnam Stavanam Prashastam, that is praiseworthy, is being commented upon here, he says. And what kind of a Lord he is? Sahasramurtehe. He is the one who has 1,000 forms. 1,000 means countless, uncountable forms. And Sahasra Netra Anana Pada Bahoho. It says Sahasra Netranana Pada Bahoho. Sahasra means 1,000 or uncountable. Netra means eyes. Anana means mouth. Pada is feet and Bahu is arms or hands. So, every form I see, every eye is the eye of Iswara, every mouth is the mouth of Iswara, every feet and every hand is the hand of Iswara. It is not, there is a tendency to bring the Vishwarupa itself into one form. Because we are so used to worshipping Iswara in a given form, what we do, in the same form, we start adding more heads, more hands, and we bring Vishwarupa into one form. Vishwarupa is not any one particular form. Vishwarupa is all forms, the universal form. So, he is everything that I see and experience. And this is how Bharat Mata is worshipped in Vande Mataram. Koti koti kanta karakara ninada karale, koti koti bujair dhridatar karuvale. And Tumarayi pratima gadi gadi mandire mandire. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee visualizes Bharat Mata as Vishwarupa Ishwara. He sings every throat, every Indian's throat is the throat of Bharat Mata. Koti koti kanta. And koti koti bujaihi. Every hand is the hand of Bharat Mata. Where will I go and worship Bharata Mata as Vishwarupa? It is the people of Bharat who I worship as the form of the Devi itself. And every temple, every deity who is worshipped in every temple is none other than my own deity, my own Ishta Devata Bharata Mata, who is worshipped in every temple as Ishwara. This is what he sings. Such a beautiful prayer, which was supposed to be our national anthem. I would say that this prayer qualifies to be the national anthem of every country. And this is how every country should worship their country as. In fact, it can be translated into French, and France can have this as one of their anthems. They should worship their country, and that is how one will be able to relate with his own motherland with reverence. Alright, so such a praiseworthy Lord, such a praiseworthy hymn is this Vishnu Sahasranama, which is being commented upon me by here, Shankara says. For what purpose are you writing this commentary? Suppose we ask this question to him. He says, I am writing this because Niruchyate, for the cessation of Janma Jara Adi Shantyaihi. Janma is birth, Jara means old age, Adi, etc. and so on. Janma, old age. Old age is very, very painful because you start being dependent on others for small things. It is very painful, when a person is already used to doing things by his own and you start having dependency physically on somebody. All these things can bring pain to you. All those things in life that cause pain to you, Adi is, you can add anything that gives you sorrow for to put an end to all those sorrows in your life. I am writing this commentary on Vishnu Sahasranamam. This is what he says. And this is the purpose. The purpose is to be liberated from samsara. Samsara nivritti or the moksha upaya is through knowledge of Iswara. We will see how knowledge of Iswara will bring samsara nivarti to me, will be the moksha upaya, and we will get into the main text of Vishnu Sahasranama, starting from Vaishampayana Uvacha, which is part of Mahabharata, from the next class. So we'll stop the class here as it's already time. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.